Welcome
What's up, guys?
to Outside the NBA on
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You can get a call from your favorite NFL team.
Playing baseball.
You're playing baseball?
Yeah.
And he got in Rudy's face and said, "You're not going to get on him like that." And that's when I knew. I was like, that guy has my back.
But he had like a perfect body.
I watched Vernon a lot, but I wasn't watching his body like Chuck.
Who are you going with in the game?
I am going with Nick Saban.
You just said,
You just said
Georgia.
When we used to play against the bad boys, you had to call your family and say goodbye before the game.
When you ask them to bleed with you, to go to war with you, you want them to be all in.
You will get
Kenny's
back.
ready
I'm
to
getting
play.
a little, it's easy for
I was
me.
like, let's go, Tim. Let's go get him.
Let's go, get in here! Let's go! Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's our bet in the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody, and we're taking it down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that.
Guaranteed.
Look at me. Look at me.
Let's go.
We got 30 minutes
Let's go.
for the rest of our lives.
For the rest of our lives.
Let's go.
Let's go.
A lot of good will come out of this. You have never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season, and you never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season, and you never see a team play harder than we will the rest of this season. God bless.
Listen, over the last 4 years, Tennessee, you've signed 58 4 or 5 stars, okay? Over the last 4 years, you've had titles like Team 121, Brick by Brick, Leadership Reps, and my favorite is Champions of Life. Okay, hold on for a second. Put down the 4 and 5 stars, put down the titles, put down the slogans, because they don't work, all right? You know what works? It's called heart.
Tim Tebow.
Wow.
Okay, Big Tim.
Welcome
What's up, guys?
to Outside the NBA on
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, man.
Yeah, brother.
And you're in town here in Atlanta. Got a championship game coming up on Monday.
Yes.
Let's dive into that a little bit.
Oh, God.
When you look at both teams, Alabama and Georgia. What's the immediate thing that jumps out at you about the matchup?
Other than your obnoxiousness.
True.
That does immediately jump out. You're right.
I think it's stopping the 3 running backs for Georgia. I think they're the best running backs in the country. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel came back for their senior year. But maybe the best one is a freshman, DeAndre Swift. He is from Philly. How Georgia got him, I'll never know. And
Paid
he's
him.
They do have a lot of
cash.
money.
Yeah.
Because he's been donating
Oh,
for a
no.
while.
If he had to pay people, he got every dime he's ever made.
Who are you going with in the game?
I am going with the greatest college football coach ever, Nick Saban. I'm rooting. I will admit this.
You just said,
You just said
Georgia. You're going to cover all the bases? It's only 2 teams playing.
Can I make my point? I really, because of my love and affection for Ernie, I like to see Georgia win. But Nick Saban, as I've said many times, is the greatest college football coach ever. That defense against Clemson was
unreal.
unleashed. It's like that Alabama defense was in full speed.
That's pretty dominant.
And Clemson was in slow speed.
And they were truly irritated and pissed off, ready to show something.
I mean, it was like first of all, I will say this. Other than the kick 6, Georgia against Auburn, no, Alabama against Auburn, Texas against USC, that Georgia-Oklahoma game was the 3rd best college football game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I have a question about leadership. Like, we've all been in NBA locker rooms, Game 7s, these moments that are about to come for these young men at both of these universities. You've been there. Football mentality in the locker room, as we just saw, is totally different. Because, see, to me, I don't know a basketball player has ever done what you just did, because it feels like the emotion would be so draining to perform to have that much. How do you channel that and then have the same performance and that energy? I would be drained if I was screaming at my teammates like that and then went out and tried to play.
And I was a little bit. And that's why you have to pick and choose your moments as a leader. And a lot of people would always think that I would talk in front of the team all the time. No, it was only, bits and pieces. But when I did, everybody would know, dang, this is a different time. I'm going to hold up a second, And that was halftime at the national championship game against Oklahoma, and it was tied. And then there was one more talk I gave them going into the game-winning drive, and that was just the offense. And those are the only 2
talks that I gave them for the national championship. And so it was very few and far between. But when you give a talk, you want it to mean something. As a leader, when you speak, you want people to listen. And you don't want to just be someone that talks all the time because words fall flat.
Right.
But when you say something, you want it to mean something. You want it to hold weight. And when you say something, when you ask a teammate to do something, when you ask them to bleed with you, to go to war with you, you want them to be all in, totally locked in and ready to give everything
Okay,
for
wait,
you.
Tim, you're there, right? You will get
Kenny's
back.
ready
I'm
to
getting
play.
a little, it's easy for
I was like,
me.
let's go, Tim. Let's go get him. Let's go get him.
How do you channel that kind of stuff that you have in you then when you turn the page and you're playing baseball and a game is 4 hours long?
Yeah,
and
that's
sometimes
hard.
They drag. Yeah, I'm serious.
It is. It's hard. But for me, and when people would talk about the baseball and how you get burned out a long season, it didn't happen because I just love it. It's fun. We're going to play baseball. Just like you guys come to the show and have fun every night, that's what I do. And people are like, well, why are you going to go do that? It's going to be so hard to succeed. Because I love it. Because it's fun. And why was me choosing what I want to do based on success or not? It's based on what I want to do and going after something that you love.
We all know you as Tim Tebow, a great quarterback, especially in the SEC. You killed LSU many times. You can get a call from your favorite NFL team.
Playing baseball.
You're playing baseball?
Yeah.
So NFL is done?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting to know. All right.
My dad just asked me that the other night.
You did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What is it about baseball that wins out?
So if the Cowboys
I did it
call
my
you,
whole life.
if my Cowboys call
They got
you,
a good one. That's my guy, Dak.
no, but if my Cowboys call you and say, hey, we need you.
And guess what? I would say, hopefully, I'm trying to make it to the bigs playing for the Mets.
And if my Rams call you and say, we need you.
So you just spent a lot of money on
My
him for the
Dolphins,
first
you
pick.
live in Florida. You know what? You live in Jacksonville. My Jaguars, they call you and say, hey.
How many teams do you have?
Welcome to our world.
Johnny Gill.
Every team.
Welcome to our
Whoever
world.
wins this year, that's his team.
Tim, thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely,
Appreciate you
guys.
being here.
Thank you.
Tim.
Oh, man, appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
I'm amped. I'm amped to do the show now.
50 points for Vernon Maxwell. Maxwell for three. There it is. Maxwell and AC Green. The feed. Vernon Maxwell from downtown.
And now, joining
Special
us,
guest.
Yes, special guest joining us on Outside the NBA. I don't feel qualified to do this introduction. I think it should be done by his former teammate, Kenny the Jet Smith.
From Florida, NBA champion of the world.
Why are you looking
Why you like
that?
that?
I'm just good.
Vernon Mad Max Maxwell.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you for
to
having
see
me.
you, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So what was Kenny like as a teammate?
Oh, what was
Oh,
that?
he was a great teammate, man. It's like
What makes a great teammate?
a guy that had my back. I mean, all the time. He knew when my family was having problems and when I was having problems and vice versa. So that makes a good teammate for me.
Yeah, everybody, I was saying this before, everybody's, oh, he's my brother, these are my brothers, and it's normally because the guy passes you the ball. But really, brothers, where I felt that we were, is he knew when my dad was going through something, my mom, and we'd have real conversations.
Of course.
And I said, we went in as young men, and then we left as men. So he saw that whole transformation, and I saw it with him. So that's a different relationship than
Of course.
he set a good screen for me.
Right.
You know, and
Do you think
that's what it was.
do you think that's missing in the game today? Do you think younger players are invested in each other as you guys were on that Rocket team?
I mean, these guys these days, I mean, they're different than when we played. So
In what way would you say they're different?
Don't say it.
Just say it.
It's
Say
soft.
it. I mean,
Don't say it.
I mean, you can't touch nobody anymore. I mean, the flagrant fouls are really fouls, and I mean, it's just different now. I don't think I could have played in this era.
no, I think, honestly, I always say this. You're Dwayne Wade before Dwayne Wade came.
Of course, right.
The way Dwayne Wade plays now and has kind of evolved then. But if you played in the era as fast, you were a much better athlete. So as fast as you were, with no hand check rule.
Right.
Can you remember Dan Marley?
Yeah.
That series, Chuck.
The thing I've always told people about Vernon, I says, number one, he's tough as nails, but he had like a perfect body. Like, he was the perfect size, he was lean, but he was strong too, so he can play athletic, he can play physical, and those guys are hard to find. Like, some guys are like Oh, he's a physical
Oh, you
player.
want Shaq is saying he was like that as well.
No, listen. I watched Vernon a lot, but I wasn't watching his body like Chuck was.
But that's because when you, like,
just saying.
as a guy who has to be a cerebral player, because I'm a 6'4" power forward, I have to think my way through the game. You just was out there beating up on people.
Yeah, that's right. And they got
But
4 rings.
But you
That's
have
what I
you have to be able to think. You didn't
Welcome
think.
to our world
do. I
here.
don't need to think.
How about this?
yeah, well, just play right here, Chuck. Was you thinking on that play?
No, I'm
then why-
not giving up no layup.
And look what Chuck do to me.
Hey, I'm not giving up no layup.
That's what Chuck do.
Oh, see, but
Look
you
at
see,
Chuck.
he was right in it. Speech.
Yeah.
Chuck looked
Hey,
at me.
listen, if you talking about a foxhole, you know, Vernon has.
That ain't even a hard foul.
Yeah, but Chuck, that's a dirty play.
No, it's not.
At the end of the game, we
Game
were
was
up.
over.
They were up. The game was over.
Hey, you know what I remember about Vernon, Kenny?
Oh.
I like that.
Why don't you find that amusing?
Oh, man, that's my guy, Chuck, man.
You know, first of all, I was right, and he was right. Somebody, you know, I'm not. Listen, they had the game won. You don't give up a dunk on that situation. And I could have undercut him. I just kind of pushed him back. I could have hurt him. I knew when I was trying to hurt somebody, but I respected Vernon for getting in my face, and we wasn't gonna fight.
No,
But
you
you're
wasn't
supposed
gonna
to.
fight.
You're
Vernon
supposed to
wasn't
come to your teammate's defense.
You know what I remember about Vernon, and a lot of people don't give him enough credit for it. Vernon, you know, people always talk about trash talkers, Gary Payton. He used to talk a lot of trash.
Oh my gosh.
Because I remember in the series trying to guard Akeem, every time he threw the ball, work his ass, work his ass, Akeem. He can't guard you, Akeem. Kill him, Akeem.
That's right.
You the best, Akeem.
Yeah, you know what? And the one thing that I always said is like, and he said about having each other's back. But the most prolific thing that I can remember when you had my back, and you probably don't remember it, is when we were on a 7-game losing streak. We were on a 7-game losing streak, and Rudy T comes into the locker room, and we have this team meeting, and he's starting to meet, but he's on me for the first half an hour. He's not saying anybody else is playing poorly. And Vernon gets up and goes, listen, I'm not going to have you talk to Kenny like that. Everybody in here has contributed to these, and I was shocked. And he got in Rudy's face and said, you're not going to get on him like that. And that's when I knew, I was like, that guy has my back.
You remember that moment?
Oh, yeah, I remember what Kenneth's talking about. You know, I had their back. I mean, I loved all the guys. I mean, that's the only way I knew how to play. So.
Anybody intimidate you?
Never.
Who came closest to being a guy that you didn't want to mess with?
Me?
But wait, why? What do you think intimidation?
Big Shaq.
Do you think intimidation plays a part in the game?
Today, no, but back when we played, yes, I think it did.
I think intimidation is important in every sport.
Right.
I mean, like if you're a defensive back in the old days,
Oh, yeah.
run it a lot,
Oh, yeah.
Kenny East, guys like that.
Jack Tatum.
They're looking. Have you seen like Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson? They throw a fastball at a guy's head to get him off the plate.
There you
You know, I always used to tell people, when we used to play against the bad boys, you have to call your family and say goodbye before the game. You might not see them again.
Just make sure you got the dental record.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, let me ask you this, because I looked at a couple of numbers. 91-92 season. You shot 473 threes, which was the most in the NBA that year. 2 years ago, Steph Curry shot 886.
Wow.
Would
In 1 year?
Yes.
How much would you like to be, if it were possible, Vernon, to somehow go back in time or go fast forward in time, and here you are at 26, 27 years old playing in this league now?
Well, it's crazy.
But you'd like the three happy.
Yeah.
Who would you compare yourself to? Who would be who's playing like you right now that you say, man, that's the guy kind of.
Wow, who's playing like me right
Eric
now?
Gordon?
Yeah, I like Eric Gordon. He's a guy I can say he's shooting it well now. I mean, the defensive end, he doesn't play as aggressive as I do on the defensive end, but probably I give it to Eric Gordon, like Shaq said.
Yeah,
Vernon would be a much better player in the NBA today.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Because if you're a guy who can shoot a three and put the ball down, today it's like going hunting at the zoo.
Right.
I mean, it's so easy out there right now because if you
What
have
a
to
nice
put,
analogy.
like if you have to guard a guy out on the three-point line, and if he can dribble
And fast.
and you can't touch him, the game is just so much easier today.
Right.
Okay, got a Florida Gator here. Last thing, who you got Monday? Georgia, Alabama.
Alabama.
Everybody know but you.
Alabama. That's just the truth.
It was-
They've been there.
For a long time, it was really nice having you on. Vernon, it's great, man.
Appreciate you for having me, buddy.
great- great
Appreciate
doubt.
it.
See
Yes,
you,
sir,
baby.
big guy.
That's right.
My
My
man.
back. He's
What's
got
up,
my back, baby.
Yes,
That's
sir.
outside.
I got
That's
you
right.
all day.
Outside the NBA. Go Dogs.
How's his body look now, Chuck?
Oh, still looks big. Still looks big.